shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
We have one thunderstorm cell here producing some heavy rain and frequent lightning. I'll show you how much of that we'll see through the morning.
Protests in the Triangle. The additional demonstrations planned for today as tensions over immigration crackdowns grow here and across the country.
Carrying without a permit. Today, a bill loosening restrictions on concealed weapons goes to vote. The push behind this move and the concerns it is raising for some. 4:30 the time right now as we bring you inside our WRAL studio here this morning on our Wednesday. We're glad you're with us. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Hello to all you early risers. Some folks maybe got an early wake-up call with some of the storms rolling through. We saw some lightning early this morning in the Triangle. This is video from Franklin Street just before 3 this morning from our WRAL live cam network. Look at the flashes in the sky. Mother Nature putting on a show.
Oh my, is it over yet? No, it looks like it's moving across our area. And Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with right where it is now.
It's not a very big cell, and it's the only one out there, but definitely producing some heavy rain and a lot of lightning still. We got some pictures of Durham that just came through Durham, and now you can see it moving through just the very northern part of Wake County and the southern part of Granville County past Creedmoor. It's likely to hold together, so we're talking about Franklin County, most likely up to the north and east, maybe even all the way up to Roanoke Rapids. Here's a look at Durham. You can see it is wet here, but right here in Raleigh, it is dry as a bone. And that's the only cell we'll likely see this morning. After that, skies will become partly cloudy, and we have a very small chance for showers and thunderstorms later on this afternoon. Here's a look at our Gardner Tower. We pulled this up a few minutes ago. This is the cell kind of looking off to the north where it is, and I pulled it up and you can see some lightning strikes in it. This is a live look at it, and we just have to time it right, but it doesn't look like we're going to see one this time. 75 is our temperature with a dew point of 70, so the air feels very heavy as you step outside. And our high temperature this afternoon, 91. The heat index will be high today. I'll show you what it will feel like this afternoon coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. As immigration raids continue, ICE protests spread coast to coast. Crowds gathered in New York, Atlanta, Chicago, and Denver, carrying signs and voicing their unity against the ICE raids and the Trump administration's tough stance against migrants. Happening now in California. A curfew went into effect at 8 p.m. that will remain active until 6 a.m. Police initiated mass arrests in the curfew area. Nearly 200 people were arrested Tuesday. At least 378 people have been arrested in the past 4 days. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass says 23 businesses have been looted.
And today, protesters plan to gather in Raleigh as part of this national movement. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us this morning from downtown Raleigh. Laura, those protesters are sounding off against ICE as well as immigration bills that are on their way to the governor's desk.
Jeff, good morning. Crowds of protesters are expected to take to the streets here in downtown Raleigh today, really pushing back on what these advocates and supporters are calling a crackdown and attack on immigrant communities, as well as a repression on protesters. Take a look at this video. Here's what we're seeing in our community now. This heightened tension in the capital city comes after the North Carolina Senate approved Senate Bill 153, which is a wide-ranging immigration bill that requires state and local government agencies to cooperate with deportation efforts by ICE officials. Now, this legislation moved forward amid nationwide protests against ICE, and as dozens of protesters packed the Senate gallery here, then marched to the governor's mansion on yesterday. Tonight, larger demonstrations are planned, and Raleigh Police Chief Rico Boyce addressed how their department is preparing for possible unrest in the city.
We have a lot of practice with protests. And some things that we learned since 2020. One is that we're going to make sure everybody exercises their First Amendment right. That is going to happen. But we want to make sure they do it safe.
So this immigration crackdown bill now heads to the Governor Stein's desk, as you mentioned, and this could be possibly setting up the first major veto battle between the Republican-led Senate here as well as the Democratic governor. We're going to see how that plays out later this week. Meanwhile, here in downtown Raleigh, the protest is expected to get started around 6 p.m. at Moore Square. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Today, a bill that would allow carrying of a concealed weapon without a permit could get final approval in the state legislature. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live outside the legislative building this morning. Kelsey, gun rights activists are pushing this move, but it is raising some concerns.
Yes, Renee, it is. Today, House leaders will meet here at the legislative building to make a big decision. They had some heated debate yesterday about this concealed carry bill. Right now, concealed carry permits have several requirements: a background check, a fee, a test that proves you know how to shoot and understand gun laws. Plus, you have to be 21. This proposed bill would change that. It would allow almost anyone over 18 to carry a concealed gun without a permit. Republicans who support this change say it gets rid of unnecessary red tape. Here's WRAL state government reporter Will Doran.
Critics, however, say that this is going to lead to teenagers untrained with guns. That is not going to help public safety.
A couple of Republicans have actually voted against this while this was still in committee, and some even chose not to vote at all. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on the final vote that's set to happen here on the House floor. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A show of strength. President Trump visited Fort Bragg for a full-scale military showcase. He watched as troops showed off their speed, power, and precision. More than 600 paratroopers jumped from planes, followed by booming artillery and simulated building raids. President Trump highlighted the plan to invest $1 trillion in U.S. forces, and he had this message for soldiers.
The last sound you ever hear will be the dueling howl of Black Hawks in the dead of night, the thunderous boom of artillery fire, or the ferocious roar of a U.S. Army infantry brigade charging over the horizon. That brigade is going to charge like you've never seen before, and hopefully I can keep you out of that, but if I don't, you're ready.
In addition to praising the Army and its readiness, the president also spoke on other topics, including reaching military recruitment goals, restoring the names of 7 more military bases, and his response to the protests in Los Angeles. Some of the claims he made in that speech have been challenged in previous addresses. You can find the address and the full fact check in our top article on WRAL.com.
Raleigh police just launched a new summer safety plan. Raleigh's latest crime data shows violent crime appears to be taking a downward turn. Chief Rico Boyce says with more visitors in town and kids out of school, they want to make sure the streets are a safer place. The summer plan will run through August 30th.
Fayetteville's mayor is touting the city's attention on public safety, youth, and the committee. In his State of the City address, Mitch Colvin said Fayetteville has funded and invested in public safety more than ever before. He cited investments in camera systems like ShotSpotter. He also emphasized the importance of having great schools to grow the economy and develop great leaders.
I am looking forward to working with the new superintendent from the schools and to the school boards. It is impossible to have a great city and a great community without great schools.
And Mayor Colvin says he is committed to working with other city leaders to make Fayetteville a great place to live.
A legal victory for the Trump administration's terrorist plan, at least for now. A federal appeals court ruled President Trump can keep many of his tariffs on China and other U.S. trading partners while legal challenges play out. The Court of International Trade ruled last month the president exceeded his authority to impose tariffs after he claimed a national emergency. The Trump administration appealed, leading to Tuesday's ruling. The courts must now decide whether the president has the authority on trade he says he does.
A 13-year-old is charged in connection to a shooting at a Northeast Raleigh apartment complex. Police say that they found a 17-year-old boy shot on Caldera Way Monday night. He was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. A 13-year-old is accused of shooting him. A woman who lives in the apartment complex called the whole thing concerning.
And I was trying to figure out how, I mean, he's only 13 and walking around with a gun, it doesn't make any sense.
The names of both teens have not been released.
On the field, UNC football players share their thoughts about Coach Bill Belichick, how they say he's motivating them to live up to expectations this season.
New destination starting today. You can get to another international destination from RDU. what you need to know about planning your next trip.
It will be heating up today as we look live at the American Tobacco campus in Durham. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center tracking the storms that are soon to return.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It's 4:43, and we have just one little cluster of storms right here, just north of Raleigh, mainly starting to move into the area just right around Creedmoor. That's going to continue to lift on up to the north and east, most likely clipping parts of Vance and Warren County, as well as Lewisburg and maybe even all the way up to Roanoke Rapids. Taking a look at Futurecast didn't really grasp that one. It was a pretty small one, but I do feel like the rest of the day looks pretty good here on Futurecast. We'll see increasing sunshine around mid-morning, partly cloudy skies during the afternoon, and a very small chance of thunderstorms popping up across our area as we head through the afternoon. So we're going to be looking at our temperatures to really climb as we see some sunshine popping up later on this afternoon. We'll talk more about how hot it will get and how hot it will feel coming up.
Elizabeth, thank you. A frightening scene during an immigration protest in Chicago as a car drove through the crowd of demonstrators. No one was seriously hurt. Now, a woman was reportedly seen talking to police near the protest. She then got back into her car and veered down a nearby street full of people. Protesters scrambled to get out of the way. At least one person needed to be helped back to her feet afterwards, but no one needed medical treatment.
A congresswoman from New Jersey is facing an indictment over her involvement in an anti-ICE protest. LaMonica McIver is facing charges accusing her of interfering with law enforcement. The Democratic lawmaker was arrested May 9th during a protest outside an ICE facility in Newark. She could face up to 17 years in prison if she's convicted. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is facing sharp criticism from some House lawmakers. The Oversight Committee grilled Hegseth over the mobilization of National Guard members and Marines to Los Angeles. Hegseth defended President Trump's decision to send the troops, saying they are needed to protect federal agents. Lawmakers also expressed frustration over the fact that Congress has not yet gotten a full defense budget from the Trump administration.
It is always an event when we hear from Bill Belichick. The UNC coach answered questions from the media in Chapel Hill, and some of his players joined him. WRAL's Pat Welter was there as they spoke for the first time about being coached by Belichick.
Truth of the matter is, I already have one.
Since Bill Belichick was hired, we've learned more about his personal life than any of us could have imagined.
No, she doesn't have any role in the UNC football program.
So far, Jordan Hudson has been the headline. Tuesday, we finally heard from someone like Jordan Shipp.
Definitely, the program has definitely changed into more of an NFL-style program, with the training.
Shipp and the UNC players describing life under Bill Belichick for the first time.
Belichick's brought some new stuff, a culture that's new and sort of uplifted, and just a mindset that attacks the day.
Apparently, it's a lot funnier than you think.
Him being kind of monotone sometimes will make those jokes so funny. But I've loved having one-on-one conversations with him.
Jokes aside, Belichick and the Tar Heels clearly trying to put the focus back on football.
Look, I'm really focused on, doing my job here at Carolina, which is to help our football team, and that's, just to get better every day.
What college football under Belichick actually looks like remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we're just going to have to evaluate that as we go. We'll have a lot better idea in training camp.
Carolina has overturned 2/3 of its roster plus most of its coaching staff. Jordan Shipp, one of the notable players who stayed, so I asked him why. He said it's tough to transfer from a school you love, plus Bill Belichick, greatest coach of all time. Wouldn't be smart for me to leave. Pat Welter, WRAL Sports, Chapel Hill.
You're looking live at RDU this morning. Avelo Airlines launches nonstop flights to the Bahamas today. Twice-a-week service to Nassau now takes off from RDU. It's one of 3 new routes, including Grand Rapids and Wilmington, Delaware. RDU now offers 15 international destinations, the most ever.
4:47 is the time right now on our Wednesday, and weather-wise, Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We have a small patch of some lightning and a little bit of rain moving across our area.
One little cell out there. It's the only one, and once this moves out, I don't expect to see any more of that this morning. So we're not looking at a big issue for the morning commute with rain and thunderstorms and that sort of thing. It's beginning to weaken just a little bit. It was a little bit heftier as it came across sort of Durham and Chapel Hill. We'll zoom in here, and you can see the southern part of Granville County now moving over into Franklin County, most likely going to clip Vance and Warren counties. Still some lightning with this. There's been a lot of lightning with it, but it's beginning to fall apart a little bit. Still seeing some heavy rain right around Falls Lake, north of Wake Forest, and again, that all lifting north and east. But that's it. If you're, say, from Raleigh southward, you're not going to see any rain at all. Futurecast shows some cloud cover this morning. We do have a full moon out there right now, and depending on where you are, you might be able to see it. There is some cloud cover out there. By 10 o'clock, the clouds are really breaking up nicely. We'll see partly cloudy skies through the afternoon and a very small chance for thunderstorms later on today. Here's 5 o'clock. You can see a couple of cells there in our southern and eastern counties. We don't have any particular severe weather threat for today, and it's just about a 20 to 30% chance that you would see anything this afternoon. Here's a look at that Garner Tower. You can see, if you can tell, right here where it looks a little bit brighter, that's that thunderstorm cloud, and we pull it up and kind of watch it, and there was some lightning showing up on the camera. There it went. I don't know if you caught it there, but yeah, that's a lot of lightning with that particular cell. 75 is our temperature, and our dew point is at 70, and 70 is the magic number, not in a good way. Once our dew point gets to 70, it really feels heavy, sticky, oppressive, uncomfortable, whatever word you want to use for it. A little bit cooler in Roxborough, 64. Elsewhere, temperatures are mainly in the low to mid 70s. It's 71 in Holly Springs and Apex, 72 in Garner, Knightdale, and Rollsville. Our highs this afternoon will be in the low 90s, and with that really high heat index, it's going to feel pretty uncomfortable, but it gets even worse. Starting tomorrow, those dew points climb into the low to mid 70s. So, I mean, full on feeling like summer. 97 Thursday, 98 Friday, and Saturday feeling like 100. Just in time for Father's Day. So pool planner, absolutely. The next couple of days in particular, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll be dealing with some afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Friday, 50%, 60% Saturday and Sunday. We'll walk you through it and kind of talk more about the timeline, but it's generally going to be afternoon and evening, and that potential continues all the way into the first part of next week.
Thanks, Elizabeth. A message of hope and awareness.
Don't think it can't be you, because the percentage say different.
A former North Carolina firefighter's battle against cancer and how he is beating the odds.
CPI cutbacks. A critical economic indicator is cutting back how much data it collects. In our next hour, 5 on Your Side explains the effect this could have on the Consumer Price Index report. It is 4:53 as we take a live look at Lewisburg. They have a flashing light there that maybe needs fixing. Who knows? It is warm and muggy out there, and we're going to see a high of around 90 degrees. Raleigh's Summer Concert Series is making a return. The concerts will be held at Pullen Park and Fred Fletcher Park on select Sundays from now until September 21st. The show starts at 6 p.m. It's free for all ages. Different groups will be performing a variety of genres. The next one will be on June 22nd at Pullen Park. You're asked to bring your own blanket or chair.
Wonder Woman is coming back. The new face is joining the SpongeBob franchise. How about this? Rick Damigella has the details in our Hollywood Minute.
We haven't seen the last of Wonder Woman on the big screen. James Gunn, who co-runs DC Studios, tells Entertainment Weekly that a new Wonder Woman movie is in the works and being written as we speak. No word yet on whether Gal Gadot will be picking up the golden lasso again and reprising her role. Ice Spice will be bringing the cool factor to the new upcoming SpongeBob movie. The rapper will not only voice one of the characters, but will also record a new original song for the film. The SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, is set to release in December.
Look, Joe, 6th Street.
Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal face off in Eddington. Described as a modern Western, the movie centers on a showdown between a sheriff and a small-town mayor during the tensest days of the COVID pandemic. Eddington hits theaters next month. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
A former Oak Island firefighter is sharing his story of beating stage 4 cancer. Alan Browning worked as a firefighter for more than 2 decades. He was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma 2 days before Thanksgiving. He started chemotherapy right before Christmas. Doctors gave him a 40% survival rate because of how aggressive the cancer was. Now, 6 months later, he is in remission and cancer-free. He says there is a lesson in his story for all of us.
And don't give up. Don't give up. Well, no matter what you do, don't give up. Life is worth living.
The International Association of Firefighters says cancer is now the leading cause of line-of-duty death for firefighters. CDC research says firefighters also face a 9% higher risk of getting a cancer diagnosis than the average American.
Right to carry. Today, North Carolina lawmakers are expected to pass a bill allowing people to have a concealed gun without a permit. The push behind the movement and the concerns it is raising for some.
Flying high. A jet maker may be planning big things for North Carolina. The plans that could bring thousands of jobs to the state.
And hundreds of arrests in L.A. as protests there continue. Coming up at 5 o'clock, a look at the ones happening overnight, plus what we know from LAPD.